Okay. Welcome to the Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. Committee Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Assemblymember Cole.
Here.
Dickman.
Here.
Edgeworth.
Present.
Gonzalez.
Here.
That's Vice Chair.
Oh.
Hivitz. Hudigi.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Monroe Moreno.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Nadim.
Present.
Mosca.
Thank you, and will you please mark Chair Mosca present when she arrives. Welcome the audience in Carson City, those joining us by video conference in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet. I will be filling in as chair for the beginning of this meeting until our chair arrives from her bill presentation. As a reminder, before we begin, I would ask that you please silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table at the door and provide a business card to the committee secretary. When testifying, please turn the microphone on and clearly state and spell your name and state any affiliation on the record so that we can keep it for the minutes. There are hard copies of the meeting materials available for members of the public, and members of the public may also access the electronic copies on the Nevada Legislature's website. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes. In addition, the public may submit written testimony to the committee up to 24 hours after. Also, we expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting, even if we don't agree with another person's position. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. And with that, I would like to get started with our first bill today, which is the hearing on Assembly Bill 384. This measure revises provisions relating to the legislature. We have our very own member, Assemblymember Monroe Moreno, presenting AB 34, so we'll give her a second to get to the dais. Awesome, and when you're ready, you may begin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Committee. I am Danielle Monroe Moreno. I represent Assembly District 1 in beautiful North Las Vegas, and I am pleased to introduce to you today Assembly Bill 348. And this is my second bill in like 2 weeks for cleanup of things in our Ways and Means Committee. I have joining me today, again, Mr. Michael Nakamoto and Mr. Adam Drous from our Fiscal Division. As I said last week, in my service to the state as Chair of Ways and Means, I've seen some improvements and additions we need to make to how we do business here, but also some things that are outdated and obsolete that we just need to remove from statute that we haven't done. So that's what you're hearing today. And this bill revises the provisions related to the Interim Retirement and Benefits Committee and the Legislative Council Bureau's Fiscal Analysis Division. As I said, as Chair of Ways and Means, I've worked closely with the Interim Retirement and Benefits Committee and the Fiscal Analysis Division over the last several years and have identified some areas in which we can improve processes and streamline efforts to make our work much more efficient moving forward. As you are aware, the legislature has several interim committees that review and study issues in between legislative sessions. One such committee is the Interim Retirement and Benefits Committee, which was created in 1999 to review and make recommendations regarding the public employees retirement system, the judicial retirement system, and the public employees benefits program. Notably absent from the list of retirement entities reviewed by the committee is the legislature's retirement system. Assembly Bill 348 seeks to add the legislature's retirement system to the committee's purview, as well as clarify members' terms provided for the appointment of alternate members, and clarify the process of filing vacancies on the committee. Assembly Bill 348 makes a few changes to the duties of the Fiscal Analysis Division. Current law requires the Fiscal Analysis Division to perform budget stress tests in even-numbered years to the extent resources are available. The budget stress tests involve a comparison of estimated future revenues and expenditures to the major funds in the state treasury under various potential economic outcomes. The results of the stress test must be reported to the governor and the legislature and posted online. AB 348 would remove the requirements of the Fiscal Analysis Division to perform and report on such budget stress tests. So, two things. The reason for the first change, if you serve on the interim finance committee and for whatever reason you can't make it to a meeting, the chair can appoint an alternate. Well, I had a family emergency and I serve on the interim retirement committee, needed an alternate, and we found out in statute we couldn't appoint an alternate, so we were short a person. So this will help fix that problem moving forward. Additionally, AB 348 would eliminate the Legislative Bureau of Education Accountability and Program Evaluation within the Fiscal Analysis Division. The Bureau was created in 1997 to evaluate the effectiveness of public schools accountability programs and certain other educational programs. Over the years, as we have established other means of evaluating public education accountability, there is less of a need to have the Bureau evaluate such programs. Last session, the legislature created the Subcommittee on Education Accountability of the Interim Finance Committee, which is tasked with essentially the same duties as the Bureau. The subcommittee must discuss, evaluate, and make recommendations related to public education accountability in Nevada to improve the educational achievements and outcomes for students. So, with your permission, Madam Vice Chair, I can walk you through the bill, and I brought backup to answer any technical questions. Section 1 of the bill requires the Interim Retirement Benefits Committee to review the operations of and make recommendations regarding the legislature's retirement system established by Chapter 218C of the NRS. Subsection 3 of Section 1 provides that any member of the Interim Retirement and Benefits Committee is unable to attend a meeting, the majority leader of the Senate or the Speaker of the Assembly, whichever is applicable, may appoint an alternate from the same House and party to attend in the member's place. This change aligns the committee with other interim committees that may appoint alternate members. Subsection 4 of Section 1 clarifies that a member's term expires when the next legislative session begins unless a member is replaced by the appointing authority. Subsection 5 of Section 1 clarifies that vacancies on the committee must be filled in the same manner as original appointments. Section 2 eliminates the requirement for the Fiscal Analysis Division to perform in even-numbered years, to the extent of available resources, the budget stress test comparing estimated future revenues and expenditures to major funds in the state treasury under various potential economic conditions. This section also eliminates the requirement for the Fiscal Analysis Division to report the results of such budget stress tests to the governor and legislature. Section 12 contains the other key provisions of the bill. It abolishes the Legislative Bureau of Educational Accountability and Program Evaluations within the Fiscal Division. Section 3 through 11 simply make conforming changes to remove references of the Bureau in NRS. So with that, we will stand for questions, and I have my phone friends here with me today. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
So just giving folks a few moments to form their questions. Go ahead.
Hello. So my question is on the repealed section, so the 218E.625. You had mentioned that there's a subcommittee on education that's part of the interim finance committee, and that in large part it does the same things. Is there anything that's contained in this section that exists now that the subcommittee does not do?
Danielle Monroe Moreno, for the record. No, there isn't. And actually, this subcommittee hasn't met in the last 12, 15 years approximately. Yes.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Assemblymember Hibbets.
Thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question. I apologize if I missed it in your presentation. The removal of the stress test. What was the reasoning for that? I apologize if I missed that.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, Assemblymember Hibbets, Michael Nakamoto, that's Michaelnakamoto. For the record, I'm Chief Principal Deputy Fiscal Analyst with the Fiscal Analysis Division. Before I answer the question, I'll give my usual disclaimer that I am here as nonpartisan staff to answer questions. I am not here to support or oppose the legislation, but rather have been asked by the Chair of Ways and Means to answer the question. So with respect to the stress testing, Assemblymember Hibbets, we have found that the kind of the organization of the legislature in terms of being a biennial legislature and the requirement to do the stress testing in the even-numbered year from a functional standpoint and actually from an objectivity standpoint for the Fiscal Analysis Division was rather difficult because we serve not only as staff to the legislature who builds a budget, we also serve as staff to the Economic Forum who does official forecasts. And so in the stress test would have required us to have made assumptions of various scenarios that may have been in conflict with the desires of the governor or the legislature. And therefore, we looked at various ways that we could address this issue and see if we could resolve it, but we found that just about everything that we could have done to resolve the issue may have given a result that may not have been necessarily accurate and may not have been beneficial. So that's kind of where, from the staff standpoint, it's kind of where we stood with respect to this.
Seeing no other questions, I will now open support testimony for AB 348. Seeing none in Carson City, we'll go down to Las Vegas. Seeing none in Las Vegas, we'll now go to the phone.
Thank you. To provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 348, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Again, if you wish to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 348, please press star 9. Chair, we have no callers in support at this time.
Thank you so much. Now we will open testimony in opposition of AB 348. Seeing none in Carson City, we'll go down to Las Vegas. Seeing none in Las Vegas, AVH, do we have anyone on the line for opposition testimony for AB 348?
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 348, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
Thank you so much. We will now move into neutral testimony. If anybody would like to testify in neutral, please come to the table. Seeing none in Carson City, anybody in Las Vegas? Seeing none, AVH, do we have anybody on the line for neutral testimony?
To testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 348, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers for neutral at this time.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Assemblymember Monroe Moreno to make, closing. Awesome. Thank you so much. I will now close the hearing on AB 348. I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 148. Are you? Oh, actually, I'm going to take a quick recess. We're going to recess. All right, we will now return from recess. Thank you so much, Assembly Member Hafen. All right, I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 148. This measure revises provisions relating to elections. Members, when you're ready, please begin.
Thank you, Vice Chair, members of the committee. It's good to be in front of you. I don't know if I've ever been in front of this committee before. So I'm excited to be here with the Speaker, Speaker Yeager. I'm Gregory Hafen II. I represent Assembly District 36, which includes parts of Clark County, a small sliver of Lincoln County, and part of Nye County. Pleased to present Assembly Bill 148 today. And this bill is here to address sample ballots and mail ballots. So a little bit of background. Sample ballots, as you know, are mailed to the registered voters by city and county clerks in preparation for an election. They contain important information for voters such as the methods of voting, voting center locations, hours of operation, a list of offices and candidates that will appear on the ballot, as well as language pro and against specific ballot questions. So current law requires city and county clerks to distribute sample ballots before the period of early voting beginning, which is on the third Saturday preceding an election. This equates to 17 days before an election. And if I would just point to the slide that we have here. I drew up a calendar so we could all visually see this because I had to look at it myself to understand what it is that I was trying to accomplish. So in the next general election, 2026, early voting would start on October 18th. And then I'll get to the rest of that here in a second when we get to the amendment. And the existing deadline, I already read that part. Okay. So current law requires that mail ballots be distributed no later than 20 days before an election. 20 days before the election. The reason that I bring this up and the reason that I was interested in this bill is there is no statutory requirement for how soon they could go out. So theoretically speaking, mail ballots could be mailed out as early as July. Last election, probably would have had the wrong candidate on the ballot in July had those gone out early. And in Nye County, my county clerk is super efficient, extremely great at her job. So great that she had the ballots in everyone's mailboxes in September, long before the sample ballots came out. And this caused a lot of confusion to our constituents, and people thought it was their sample ballot. People saw it and was like, I don't know what this is. They threw it away. I got phone calls where it's like, hey, the sample ballot doesn't have all the explanation of all the questions. Can you tell me what each question is and what it's about? And all of the information that is very helpful in the sample ballots, people were very confused. And so what we're trying to do today is to address that confusion, which I'll go ahead and let the speaker speak to the amendment right here, and to try to really hone in the confusion and address what it is we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Gonzalez, members of the Legislative Operations and Elections Committee. It is an honor to be here today. I miss serving on this committee. It was one of my favorites. My name is Steve Yeager. I represent Assembly District 9 in Southwest Las Vegas, and I am pleased to be here to offer support for Assemblymember Hafen's Assembly Bill 148, and also to offer an amendment, which hopefully you have in front of you. If not, it is on Nellis. As Assemblymember Hafen mentioned, the original language, the language of the bill, AB 148, ensures that voters receive their sample ballot prior to receiving their actual ballot. That makes sense for a lot of reasons, and certainly to avoid confusion, which we just heard about. Doesn't make sense to receive your actual ballot before your sample ballot. So the proposed amendment does a couple of things. One, it adds me as a primary sponsor of the bill, so I'd like to let the record reflect that bipartisanship is not dead, at least not yet. And the amendment also sets a time frame for which the actual ballots should be mailed. The ballots under the amendment will be mailed out not earlier than the 5th Monday prior to the election and not later than the 4th Monday before the election. And if you look at the exhibit that we have here that Assemblymember Hafen put together, I think it's very helpful. You'll sort of see, if we go to 2026, this would mean the earliest date your actual mail ballot could be sent out would be Monday, October the 5th. That is the 5th Monday before the election. And then the last day it could be sent in the mail would be Monday, October 12th, which is the 4th Monday. And I think what you see accomplished here is you'll see 4 days between, at least 4 days between October 12th and when early voting starts. So we're going to be assured that you have your mail-in ballot before early voting actually starts. And I think this works nicely with the language that's in Assembly Bill 148, because that language tells the clerks that they have to get your sample ballot before you get your actual ballot. So the amendment sets the date when it has to be sent. Right now, the language just says it has to be received by a certain date. But what we want to do is tighten up that window so that it is actually 1 week. Looking back several years at elections calendars, this change essentially results in ballots being mailed, official ballots being mailed 29 to 36 days prior to an election. And then obviously you would back up to what the early vote would start. But I think what's going to happen here and why we want to do this is it'll standardize and add some predictability on when you will receive your actual ballot, no matter where you live in the state. And it will also ensure you receive that ballot before early voting starts, and in conjunction with the original part of the bill, which will ensure you get your sample ballot before then. So I think this is really common sense to say, let's put these timeframes into the statute so we don't have this problem of folks getting their actual ballots before their sample ballots. So I ask for your support of Assembly Bill 148 with the amendment, and I would certainly hand it over back to Assemblymember Hafen and ready for questions also whenever the committee is ready.
Thank you, Speaker Yeager. And yes, this is a bipartisan solution to a problem that we just discovered. And so I thank the Speaker for being willing to be a co-sponsor and really trying to tighten this language down, because I do think it is common sense to make sure that we're able to do this. And so having said that, Vice Chair, we are here for any questions. And I didn't know we could urge you to vote for the bill, but please urge you to vote and pass the bill out.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Members, do you have any questions? Assemblymember Cole.
All right, so my question is regarding the amendment. In this section of NRS that you're changing to 93.269911, 5A1, there's actually also a second provision for those who reside outside of the state. This is not later than 40 days after the election. Just wondering why we didn't make conforming changes to that as well.
And you're referring to, through you, Vice Chair, to the Assembly member, you're referring to the
You can go direct.
military absentee ballots that go out under the subsection there.
Yeah.
And you're asking if the amendment should be also included to
Yeah,
address.
just wondering. But maybe they don't get sample ballots. I don't know the answer to that. I thought maybe there was a reason why it wasn't included.
I think that is a very good question that I think we're going to phone a friend to help us.
Thank you, Assemblymember, for the question. Mark Volashin, my last name is spelled Wlaschin. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State for Elections. The timeline you're referring to actually is 40 days prior to the election. It's for voters who are out of state. There is a separate provision that relates to military and overseas voters. It's actually no later than 46 days prior to the election. Those ballots have to be sent out. But because, of course, Article 2, Section 1A, subsection 7 of the Nevada Constitution identifies a sample ballot as a requirement, an informative and timely sent sample ballot too. It does go, in fact, to all voters, all active registered voters.
Okay. Okay. So, maybe add that. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna go to Assemblymember Monroe Moreno next.
I just wanted to say for Mr. Volashin, I am so impressed that you had that right at the top of your head. That's all I want to say. No question.
Thank you. Next, we have Assemblymember Hibbets.
Thank you, Chair, or thank you, Chair. My question on the amendment in the exhibit, it says the fifth Monday before, but if I'm looking at the exhibit, I only count 4 Mondays before. So it looks to me like it would actually go out in the end of September. Or are you counting, wait a minute, 1, 2. No, I'm sorry. So somebody used, I'm going to admonish Mr. Hafen for using a weird calendar because Sunday is the first day of the week. So my apologies. I withdraw my question.
Through you, Vice Chair, to the Assembly member, I happen to be Catholic, and therefore Monday is the first day of the week.
Thank you. I have a question. In working on this bill, I'm curious, did you have any vendor concerns that came up with moving the deadline into statute?
To answer your question, sorry, through you, Vice Chair, to the Vice Chair, that has not come up and been brought to our attention. The amendment was just submitted to Nellis on March 11th? Yesterday? March 10th, which was yesterday, and therefore I'm not sure that the vendors have had a chance to take a look at it. But nobody has brought up that concern to us under the original language, and therefore I don't believe that there would be any concern, but we may have some testimony that says otherwise. We'll see.
Thank you. Members, any final questions? Assemblymember David?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Not a question, but our sample ballots came after our ballots. And I had many, many questions from constituents about why this could happen, because a lot of people depend on those sample ballots to figure out who and what they're voting for. So I think this is really important, but I also like the amendment too. So, comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now hand the meeting back to our chair, who has arrived.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair, and thank you, committee. Look at that, so amazing. Okay, it's seeing no more questions. We will move now to hear testimony in support of Assembly Bill 148. Remember, you have 2 minutes to provide testimony. If you're going to call in over the phone, the number is 888-475-4499, and the meeting ID is 867-0184-5996. Don't forget to state and spell your name for the record, and we will have 2 minutes. Anyone may begin.
Can't reach, I'm sorry. Surprise, surprise, I'm here supporting something. My name is Lynn Chapman, Lynnchapman, and I'm the State Vice President of Nevada Families for Freedom. And, this is a small change to this statute, but it's a big change to helping people with their ballots, because you don't want to fill out your ballots. Oops, made a mistake. Oh no, now what do I do? So having a sample ballot is important to be able to fill it out, make sure it's good, and then you can go ahead and fill out your ballot. I live in Washoe County, and I received my ballot, and I thought, well, that's funny, I don't have a sample ballot. Well, then I started getting phone calls from people, is this our ballot? Where's the sample ballot? Like, I'm supposed to know that? So it's been important to have the sample ballot come out first, and then we'll get our ballots. So, we're definitely in favor of the changes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Jennifer Willett, Jennifer Willett, and I'm the Senior Campaign Manager at All Voting is Local Action Nevada, an organization that advocates for policies and legislative priorities that expand voter access, and we are here to urge you to support AB 148. We see AB 148 as a common sense bill that addresses a simple but important issue. Voters should receive their sample ballots before their mail ballots. When sample ballots arrive after mail ballots, they become redundant, adding an unnecessary cost to the system without providing any real benefit. And I am also a resident of Washoe County, and I also always receive my sample ballot after my mail ballot. It leads to the perception that the sample ballot is essentially useless, despite it being a really great resource for voters. AB 148 offers a practical solution to the issue, ensuring that voters have the tools to research candidates and issues before casting their vote. For these reasons, we urge you to support AB 148, and we thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kayla Maese, spelled Kaylah. Last name is Maese. I'm a civil rights analyst at the ACLU of Nevada, and we support Assembly Bill 148, and we thank both of the sponsors for bringing it forward. Thank you.
Chair Mosca, Vice Chair Gonzalez, and members of the committee. Esmeralda Vasquez, ESMERALDA VAZQUEZ, with Strategies 360 today, representing Campaign Legal Center. Campaign Legal Center supports AB 148 because ensuring that voters receive sample ballots before they receive their mail ballots is a sensible policy that provides voters with more time to research candidates and issues. While under current law, clerks are only mandated to send sample ballots to registered voters before early voting begins, AB 148 will peg the distribution of sample ballots to occur before the deadline for sending mail ballots. This approach will facilitate more informed decision-making on part of voters and enable them to align their votes with their values when they receive their official mail ballots. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Mosca and Assembly members. For the record, my name is Ryan Vortish, that's R-Y-A-N, last name V-O-R-T-I-S-C-H, and I am the Northern Nevada Democracy Coordinator with Silver State Voices. I'm here to testify in support of AB 148 on behalf of my organization and the Let Nevadans Vote Coalition. We view AB 148 as a positive step towards decreasing confusion around the vote-by-mail process. In the 2024 general election, almost 45% of Nevada voters used mail to cast their ballots. However, multiple counties experienced delays in sending out voter sample ballots. This created confusion surrounding which ballot was the official ballot for voters to use. As an organization that works on voter education and get out the vote efforts, we receive questions from voters about when they will receive their sample and mail ballots. AB 148 would help all Nevada voters know what to expect and when to expect official elections-related mail from their county registrar or clerk. Many in-person voters also prefer bringing their sample ballot to the polls to use as a reference. They would appreciate as much time as possible with their sample ballot so they may do their research before heading to the polls. We thank Assemblymember Hafen and Speaker Yeager for sponsoring this bill, and we urge the committee to support AB 148. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tara Webster, T-A-R-A-W-E-B-S-T-E-R, and I'm the Policy Manager for the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. Keep it short. We are here in support of AB 148 because we believe that all voters should have adequate time to research their candidates beforehand and be able to make in-depth decisions about those voters, their candidates before they receive their mail-in ballot. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Janine Hansen. I'm the state president of the state chairman of the Independent American Party. It's great to see the bipartisanship and the diverse people that are up here supporting this bill. It's really important any of you know, you get lots of calls from people, what's happened? Why don't I have my sample ballot? And so we'd like to reduce the number of calls that we get for that. And we really appreciate this because I think it's very important legislation to give direction to the county clerks as to when things go out so there isn't confusion, and it will help the whole process. I think it'll be a lot smoother, and we're very much in favor of it and appreciate all those that have come together to bring it here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. For the record, my name is Noe Orozco. That's N-O-E, accent over the E, O-R-O-S-C-O. I'm the Government Affairs Manager for Make the Road Nevada, and we are a proud member of the Let Nevadans Vote Coalition. We're here in support of AB 148. Voting by mail is a popular method among Nevadan voters, providing an accessible way for to participate in elections. In the last general election, nearly 45% of Nevadan voters opted to cast their ballot by mail, demonstrating that wide support of the widespread reliance on this method. But despite the popularity, there are some challenges that our gente encounters, particularly around the timing of when they receive the election materials. But it is important to note that although voters may receive a mail ballot, that is not the only way for them to cast their ballot. And ultimately, sometimes they decide to vote in person, but they are still going to be reliant on that sample ballot as a reference, because as many of you in this committee, or all of you in this committee know, that whenever they do decide to opt by voting in person, they have to surrender their ballot. Requiring counties to send sample ballots prior to mailing the official ones would allow voters to review and familiarize themselves with the candidates and the ballot measures. And for those reasons, we do ask for you to support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. My name is Joshua Skaggs, Joshua-Skaggs, and I am the Legislative Director for the Nevada Republican Party, here today in support of AB 148. Thank you, Assemblyman Greg Hafen, for bringing this bill forward. And on October 9th, 2024, Washoe County posted a message on Twitter X stating, and I quote, "Voters, ballots are at the post office and should be arriving in mailboxes early next week. Some sample ballots have already been sent from the printer and will continue going out through next week. Watch your mailbox early next week. Early voting begins October 19th, end quote. This statement clearly indicated that some voters were going to receive their actual ballot before their sample ballot. And in Nevada, sample ballots provide voters with a preview of the candidates and measures that will appear on their official ballots in upcoming elections. As the Deputy Election Integrity Director for the Nevada Republican Party and the Donald J. Trump presidential campaign in 2024, I witnessed firsthand the confusion this caused with voters who were frustrated with the election process. Our office in Reno was flooded with calls and questions over this matter, and we asked that we work together to make sure people receive their sample ballot before their actual ballot. And for these reasons, the Nevada Republican Party supports AB 148 and urges the committee members to pass this bill so we can strengthen election integrity in our state and boost confidence in our election process with the voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we will now go down to Las Vegas. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair Mosca and members of the committee. My name is William Moore, spelled W-I-L-L-I-A-M-M-O-O-R-E. I'm the Nevada Civic Engagement Director with Mi Familia en Acción, here testifying in support of AB 148. Mi Familia en Acción is a civic engagement organization that focuses on building Latino political power, and we advocate on issues that impact Latino communities, including voting rights. We support AB 148 because it's a common sense policy for voters. In 2024, Mi Familia en Acción conducted a nonpartisan Get Out the Vote program here in Las Vegas. We were able to speak with community members from all walks of life, and so we helped answer many questions about the voting process, including questions about the sample ballot. If passed, AB 148 will guarantee more Nevadans have the time and information that's needed to make an informed decision at the ballot. And by guaranteeing voters have more time to research candidates and policies that are important to them, we can expect our community to feel more confident when we show up to the polls. Latinos are an influential group in Nevada, and policies like AB 148 will promote voter participation among voters who have historically faced voting barriers. At Mi Familia en Acción, we strongly believe that this participation and confidence inspires progress. Thank you, Assemblymember Hafen and Speaker Yeager, for sponsoring this bill. We urge the committee to support AB 148. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Gabriel DeCara, Gabriel, DI space capital CHIARA. I serve as the Chief Deputy Secretary of State. I am here testifying in support on behalf of Secretary of State Francisco Aguilar. We'd like to thank Assemblymember Hafen for bringing the bill and Speaker Yeager for bringing the amendment. We believe this is a common sense fix that will help improve voter education across the state and clarify timelines for the county clerks. The Secretary of State is committed to supporting the county clerks through the entire election process, including providing assistance whenever and wherever we can, including in getting things ready for printing and mailing. And you should really follow up with Deputy Voloshin. There's a lot of party tricks he knows, all related to the obscure election statutes that he can reference at any given time. If you stump him, he does have to give you a prize. Thank you.
And we are grateful for that. And next we will go to AVH for support on AB 148.
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 148, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good evening, Chair Mosca and committee members. For the record, Matilda Miller, that's Mathilda Miller, Government Relations Director of Native Voters Alliance Nevada. We are in strong support of Assembly Bill 148 and are immensely grateful for this bipartisan common sense solution. In my household, voting is a shared experience. When our sample ballots arrive, we sit down as a family and ensure that everyone understands and feels confident about what will be on their mail ballot. It's about being informed, prepared, and ready to participate. We urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Tristan St. Denis. That's TRYSTIN_DENIS, and I am the Policy Associate with the Nevada Conservation League. NCL works to protect Nevada's environment and uphold the values of Nevadans while doing so. We believe the health of our planet and the health of our democracy are linked. This bill will ensure that voters have their sample ballots ahead of time so they can be well informed each election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Shelby Swartz, and I am the Executive Director of Battleborn Progress and the Institute for Progressive Nevada. As a member organization of the Let Nevadans Vote Coalition, we strongly support AB 148 because it ensures voters receive essential information before they vote. Aligning sample ballot distribution with mail ballot deadlines is a simple, common sense, and bipartisan improvement that enhances voter preparedness and strengthens election integrity. A key part of our work is to educate and inform Nevadans about their voting rights and how they can participate in the electoral process. Right now, voters may receive their mail ballots before their sample ballots, as we've heard, leaving them without crucial details on candidates and certain measures. This bill will fix that by ensuring sample ballots arrive first. Ensuring voters have the information they need is clearly not a partisan issue. It's a fundamental principle of a fair and transparent democracy. Regardless of their affiliation, we should agree that all Nevadans deserve the chance to make informed decisions when casting their ballots. This reform also will improve consistency with election procedures and extends these benefits to all of our citizens in the state. This is a smart, practical change that puts voters first, and I strongly thank Assembly Members Yeager and Hafen for bringing this bill forward. Thank you.
Ms. Schwartz, could you spell your name for the record, please?
Sorry, Chair, the caller left the queue.
No problem. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen Gifford, ELLENGIFFORD. Prior to your committee's discussion, I had the following testimony prepared. NRS 293-269911 mandates that a mail ballot could go out to a voter entitled to a military overseas ballot as early as 40 days before the election, and federal code could extend that period to even earlier. In order for those voters to have their sample ballots in time to be used for making their important decisions, a deadline for mailing them should be no less than 2 weeks earlier than the date they will receive their mail ballot. I support AB 148 conditionally based upon my proposed amendment to the bill. And now I'd like to end my testimony by saying that, based upon your committee's discussion, I look forward to supporting AB 148 with appropriate legislative text that ensures all voters will receive their sample ballots no less than 1 week before they receive their mail ballots. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. We have to move that to opposition for proposing your own amendment, but we appreciate you calling in. Next caller, please.
Good afternoon, committee chair and members. My name is Luisa Benasano. For the record, Luisa Benisano. I am the Campaigns and Community Engagement Manager for Planned Parenthood Votes Nevada, and we strongly support AB 148. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Good afternoon. My name is Iris Stone, IRISSTONE. While I support AB 148 wholeheartedly, I would like to point out that the issue of mail ballots arriving in the mail before sample ballots is a result of having established the universal mail ballot process, whereby every active registrant on the voter file receives a mail ballot in the mail as early as 45 days prior to Election Day. This timing issue is a result of what one could call the law of unintended consequences. The issue would practically disappear if mail ballots were mailed only to registrants who request them, similar to how the process worked prior to 2021. While it is understandable why we had universal mail ballots during the pandemic, it is no longer required and should not be permanent law in Nevada. It's wasteful and very expensive to mail all these envelopes. It's unproductive and adds tremendous amount of workload to the county clerks. In 2024, we had 3 elections, and in Clark County alone, approximately 1.4 million ballots were printed in the primary and general elections, plus envelopes stuffed and mailed. Then another 800,000 in the presidential primary were produced. Specifically, during the 2024 general election, only about 445,000 of the 1.4 million ballots were returned to the counting board. Therefore, close to 1 million ballots were never used. I ask you, what respectable business enterprise would be so wasteful with their money to do this, and 3 times a year, no less? I urge you to consider taking this issue under advisement and save the Nevada taxpayers millions of dollars in the process. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hi, Madam Chair and Committee. This is Yolanda Kanak, Yolanda. Last name is Knaak. And I'm calling representing myself. I am in favor of AB 148, and I believe it's important for us to get our sample ballots. In fact, it's just common sense to get our sample ballots first. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next caller.
If you recently joined the call and would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 148, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Rudy Zamora. That's R-U-D-Y, Zamora Z-A-M-O-R-A, and I'm here representing Chicanos por la Causa Nevada and supporting AB 148. AB 148 represents a comprehensive effort to improve the election process here in Nevada by ensuring a timely distribution of sample ballots, enhancing accessibility for all voters, and modernizing our distribution method. I'm going to cut this short and just ditto what everybody else said. So we urge you to the committee to support AB 148. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, we have no additional callers in support at this time.
Thank you so much. Next, we will move to opposition. If you are here to testify in opposition to AB 148 in Carson City. Seeing none, we will move to Las Vegas. Seeing none in Las Vegas, AVH, we will open the phone lines for opposition of AB 148.
To testify in opposition of Assembly Bill 148, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to neutral. Is anyone here in Carson City here to testify in neutral of AB 148? Seeing none, we'll move to Las Vegas, testifying in neutral. And seeing none, AVH, we will go back to the phone lines for testimony in neutral of AB 148.
To testify in neutral for Assembly Bill 148, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon. This is Oscar Williams, O-S-C-A-R-W-I-L-L, excuse me, W-I-L-I-A-M-S. Pardon me, allergies. I live in Reno, and I'm not opposed to this bill. I just have some observations that I'd like to share with the committee that maybe could be presented or brought in as an amendment to this. I don't know, but I'd like it to be for the record. The sample ballot that I received was not detachable. This was a drastic change in form from every other election where I received a sample ballot. Also, it did not mimic a real ballot in the sense that, the paper, the stock quality, the ballot looked just like a real ballot, but for a watermark that said sample. And also, it was not accurate or neither specific to candidate choices or it was sort of a generic, this is what one looks like, but it's not specific to you or to me. And as Mr. Balachin was so kind to point out, there is a requirement to have an accurate sample ballot. It's a constitutional right of voters, and it's also enshrined in NRS 293-2546, Section 7. These issues I just presented to you, they represent violations of law and voters' rights, as I just explained. I ask this committee to recommend a congressional investigation into the 2024 general in Washoe County and the acting registrar of voters, Andrew McDonald. He's responsible for this. He's broken the law. He's violated our rights. Can't go on. And that's a little extraneous to some of the provisions of this bill. I'd like you to consider what's really going on in Washoe County and act accordingly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next caller.
Chair, we have no additional callers in neutral at this time.
Thank you. And with that, I'd like to invite the bill sponsors for closing statements.
Steve Yeager for the record. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I just want to thank Assemblymember Hafen for bringing what is a very common sense bill and also allowing me to offer an amendment to sign on to the bill and try to tighten up these timelines. I appreciate the question from Assemblymember Cole. We're going to look into whether we should make changes to conform to those outside of the state who receive the ballot. So we'll get those answers and then hopefully we'll bring something back to this committee that you can support. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Greatly appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, thank you also for your assistance in this. As you've heard in the testimony, AB 148 is a common sense fix to an issue. It is one small step towards election integrity. So I want to thank you again It's been an honor to be able to be here and present this to you, and hopefully we get the amendment cleaned up and presented to you as soon as humanly possible. Thank you.
And we literally thank you for bringing everybody together here in our committee today. And with that, we will close the hearing on AB 148. Our last item of business is public comment. Each person has 2 minutes to provide testimony. Written public comment may also be submitted to the committee up to 24 hours after the meeting. I will remind everyone of the call-in number and meeting ID for those wishing to provide public comment over the phone. The phone line is 888-475-4499, and the meeting ID is 867-0184-5996. We'll start here in Carson City. You have 2 minutes. If you could please state and spell your name for the record.
Jessica Glover, J.
And if you could turn your mic on, please. Thank you.
Jessica Glover, Jessica, Glover, Glover. I did not receive my sample ballot, nor did I receive my voting ballot until after voting, and how I was able to do my research on what I was voting on is I was actually working in the Register of Voters office. So that's how I obtained my ballot. So I just hope that you guys can find a resolution so that all eligible voters can vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else here in Carson City, we will move down to Las Vegas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gabriel DeCara, Chief Deputy Secretary of State. For the record, I would just like to read into the record after the comments of another individual that gave public comment that the new Registrar of Voters in Washoe County, Andrew McDonald, is an incredibly hard worker. He's a civil servant. We worked closely, the Secretary of State's office worked closely with Registrar McDonald through the entirety of the election. He and his whole team worked in very difficult circumstances and harder than I think anyone could ever know. I can say definitively Registrar McDonald did not break the law. The integrity of elections in Washoe County is secure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in Las Vegas? Oh, seeing none. AVH will now move to the phone lines, please.
To provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, we have no callers wishing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you so much. I want to thank our Vice Chair for running the meeting today, as well as our committee members, hardworking committee members as usual. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, March 13th at 4 p.m. And seeing no other business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.